Rattling against Taiwan in recent weeks, including military flights near the island and landing drills across the sea. But we now want to show you another side of this equation and take you to the streets of Taipei, where the attitude over China's intimidation campaign is, for some, no big deal. Well, Ripley joins us now from Taiwan's capital to explain. Will there, has been this sharp rhetoric from China, something people are used to, and yet there has been a bit of an escalation, as you pointed out, in the last few weeks. I guess the question is, are the people of Taiwan worried about that?
I'll put it to you this way, Paula. The story that you just reported about the fire, in southern Taiwan is a massive story here. When China flew those record number of warplanes near Taiwan's air defense identification zone, it barely got a mention in the news, and that's because people here are frankly desensitized to it. It happens. It feels to them like almost every single day, even though the government only began reporting this information a year ago. But if you listen to what China is,
how you come in and leave and shit, You come in and say early and then you leave and shit. What was the purpose of that, man? Salute Vito, salute Queen, salute to y'all, my real ones.
Saying now, if you listen to the Global Times editorial that said China is still seeking a peaceful solution as long as that peaceful solution ends with the reunification of Taiwan with the mainland, you can see the difficult position that Taiwan is in and the growing military that they're up against.
Chinese soldiers trained for the invasion of Taiwan. A new propaganda video shows an amphibious assault. Beijing says this training exercise targets Taiwan independence and interference by external forces like the U.S. A warning for President Joe Biden and other U.S. allies who continue to voice support for Taiwan. U.S. arms sales to the island at record.
Yo, Vito, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yo, it's like I read they added a new little box and shit, right? So it's a full rectangular box, right? But with an image of a person figure and shit. So that's the one I clicked on. You get what I'm saying? Like, let me see. Not that one. It's the next one beside this one right here. So this screen right here and shit. It's the next one beside that. And then of course the full one.
Highs. Taiwan's defense minister says China could launch a full-scale war by 2025. He says military tensions are the worst in more than 40 years. The mainland's massive army poses a growing threat to the world's only Chinese-speaking democracy.
Let me ask you a really quick question.
On the streets of Taiwan, we get a sense of the mood on the ground. It's not what you might think.
China is for a long time like they want to take over Taiwan, but they just saying, we don't know that.
You're still here.
Yeah, we're still here.
Louis Young owns a small burger restaurant. He believes Taiwan is a country, his country, not part of China. Tea shop owner Li Su thinks the U.S. military would intervene.
I think the United States has to help because of Taiwan's strategic position. As long as Taiwan does not give up on itself and has a strong defensibility, I think the United States will definitely help.
This month, China flew a record number of warplanes near Taiwan, including fighter jets and nuclear-capable bombers. Beijing has never ruled out taking Taiwan by force. insisting the island is part of mainland China, even though it has its own government and military, more than 70 years after China's civil war. But that military is not recognized by Beijing, and nor is the government, the democratically elected government. In fact, Beijing is outspending Taiwan on defense by almost 15 times, even as Taiwan adds billions to its defense budget, buys billions of dollars in weapons from the U.S., closer ties that are seeming to agitate Beijing even further, and making these very, very increasingly bold statements that the reunification, in their words, of the mainland and Taiwan is all but inevitable. Reunification is not a word that they use here in Taipei, Paula, because they say, how can you reunify when the island of Taiwan with its government was never ruled by the People's Republic of China with its government? They have been two separate, at least in the view of the leadership here in Taipei, they've been separate for more than 70 years. But in Beijing, they've never recognized the government here, and they have never ruled out taking this island back by force. What is concerning to some analysts is that now they actually have an army in mainland China that could potentially do it, and it might not take as long as you'd think.
Yeah, and to put a fine point on it, and I don't think many people envisioned what happened in Hong Kong in the last few years happening as it did. So again, you can understand why many analysts at this point are on edge, even if the people of Taiwan perhaps aren't at this hour. Will Ripley,
I just want to, and I want to actually, I just want to say on that point, because you point out a really good thing. In Hong Kong, it was the stroke of a pen that changed that city more than rolling tanks through the streets ever could. There's a disinformation warfare campaign being waged on Taipei right now as well, where basically fake news stories are being planted into this country, which has one of the world's freest internets, and it's dividing the country. And if you get enough people believing the fake news, they could vote in a government that Beijing wants, a government that essentially would make Beijing feel like it'd be much easier to reunify.